Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into AI and Islamic finance,
Right.
specifically through this fascinating startup called Zeed.
Interesting.
Our main source is this YouTube interview with Salman Hussain.
Okay.
He's the CEO and co-founder of Zeed, and this interview was from the Muslim Money Talk podcast.
Got it.
So we're going to kind of take a look at how AI is impacting the world of finance, how Zeed is using AI in some really interesting ways,
Mm-hmm.
but also Salman has this really unique background.
Oh,
So his dad was really involved in building a mosque and community center.
okay.
So we're going to also explore, how that upbringing might have shaped his journey and what insights he might have about Muslims and tech.
Yeah, I mean, that's fascinating, right? Like how his background might have shaped his approach to technology and finance. It's not something you hear every day.
Exactly. So should we start with Salman's story?
Yeah, let's dive in.
All right. So even when he was just 16,
Wow, 16.
yeah, he was already fascinated by wealth inequality.
That's pretty young to be thinking about that kind of stuff.
Right. And then later when he was studying machine learning and working as a trader, he really started to see how AI could be used to tackle those issues.
So that's when the light bulb went off, huh?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
So did he actually talk about how those early observations about wealth inequality actually kind of led him to think about AI in this way?
Not really in detail.
Okay.
But it does seem like those experiences really planted a seed. Like
Yeah.
he wanted to find ways to make finance more equitable, more accessible,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
I get it.
And that kind of leads us to Zed.
Okay, so how did Zed come to be? Like, how did they go from idea to reality?
So Salman and his co-founder, Rohan, they were already running a finance-focused community online, even while they were at university.
Wow, so they were like student entrepreneurs.
Yeah. They were even hosting a podcast that made it to the top 10 in the UK for business and finance.
No kidding.
Yeah. And that sounds like they just saw this gap in how people were consuming financial information. They felt like there was a better way,
Yeah.
So they took a leap of faith.
What do you mean?
They quit their high-paying jobs and raised their first round of funding in like just a month.
Wow, that's a big leap.
Right.
I mean, were they nervous at all to take such a big risk?
They did mention doing a ton of research,
Okay.
like really calculating the risk versus reward.
Makes sense.
But honestly, it also seemed like they were just super passionate about this, and their experience with their online community
Yeah.
gave them that confidence that they could actually pull this off.
Interesting. So it sounds like that prior experience building that audience and creating content, that was really key for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so what did they decide to focus on first?
So they started with this idea of creating personalized financial content using AI.
Personalized. How so?
Well, and making it fun and engaging, not just, boring spreadsheets.
Got it.
Like imagine scrolling through a feed of short videos explaining complex financial concepts in a way that's easy to understand.
So like a TikTok for finance?
Exactly. Or like getting your investment report, but it's delivered like a story.
Huh, interesting.
And it breaks down all that complex data into bite-sized chunks.
Okay, so they're using AI to kind of translate all the financial jargon into something more digestible.
Right.
Did they talk about the specific AI techniques they're using to make that happen?
Not in detail, but they did mention using natural language processing and machine learning as like the core of their AI engine.
Right. Makes sense.
They even created an AI-generated earnings podcast.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, so they have these AI hosts discussing earnings reports minutes after they're released.
Wow, that's impressive.
It's called exposed earnings.
Exposed earnings. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, and they did this months before those kinds of tools became widely available.
So they were ahead of the curve.
Yeah, big time.
So these AI hosts, can they like answer questions from listeners or interact in real time?
Not really. It sounds like they're more like AI narrators just presenting the info, but they are playing around with more interactive AI stuff.
Like what?
So they have an AI broker phone line you can call to get portfolio updates,
Oh, wow.
and even a CEO clone call.
A CEO clone.
Yeah, so you can ask an AI version of a company's CEO about their business.
That's crazy. But like, how do they make sure the information is accurate? With AI, there's always that concern about bias or just getting things wrong.
Oh yeah, they're definitely aware of those concerns.
Okay, good.
They mentioned using a bunch of sanity checks to ensure accuracy, and they always reference sources to back up the AI-generated stuff.
So it's like a combination of human oversight and technology.
Exactly.
Interesting. And are they transparent about when users are interacting with AI?
Yeah, they said transparency is super important too, so
Okay.
they're upfront about that.
Good, that makes sense.
But, even with all these safeguards, things can still go wrong with AI.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Did Salman talk about any challenges they've faced?
Yeah, he mentioned how they're constantly learning and refining their AI models.
And one of the biggest hurdles has been getting the AI to create content that's not just accurate,
Right.
but also engaging and, human sounding.
It's a tough balance to strike.
Yeah, it's this weird mix of information and entertainment.
I can imagine. So how are they trying to overcome that?
Well, they talked about using things like reinforcement learning,
Yeah.
where they train the AI to produce outputs that people actually like.
Interesting.
So, for example, they might give the AI feedback on which earnings summaries are the most engaging,
Got it.
or which AI broker responses are actually helpful.
So it's all about constantly training the AI, making it better over time.
Exactly. It's an ongoing process.
That makes sense. But let's switch gears a bit.
Okay.
Zed's trying to do this consumer social thing in finance, right?
Right.
I'm curious what they've learned about that whole landscape
So they've definitely learned a lot from like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube,
in terms of...
how to make content go viral.
Okay.
But they've also realized how tough and expensive it is to achieve that virality.
Yeah. Especially in the financial space, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some of the hurdles they've run into?
Well, they found that with financial content, people are way more hesitant to download an app or really engage because it just requires more commitment than, watching a funny video.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how are they adjusting their strategy?
Well, they're experimenting with different things, but some of their most successful experiments have been stuff with high talkability.
Talkability.
Yeah, like things people want to talk about and share.
Okay.
Like they did this AI investor quiz.
Oh, tell me about that.
You answer some questions and it matches you with a famous investor.
Haha, that's fun.
Right. It's shareable. It gets people talking.
That's really clever.
So they're trying to find ways to make finance more approachable, more fun.
Yeah, break down those barriers.
Exactly. Oh, and remember how we talked about Selma's background?
Yeah, with his father building the mosque and community center.
Yeah, so think about it. He grew up watching his dad dedicate himself to building this community. And now that mosque has a school with over 400 students.
Wow.
So that kind of upbringing, it really shapes your values,
It definitely does.
So I think that's part of why Salman sees AI as this tool for not just generating wealth,
Yeah,
but also empowering and uplifting communities.
that's a really interesting perspective.
Right, like using technology for social good.
Did he talk more about how he sees that playing out in practice?
Well, he believes AI could create new opportunities for entrepreneurship and economic growth in the Muslim world,
Okay.
which could lead to greater financial inclusion and prosperity.
That's a really positive vision.
Right. And he also talked about using AI to address social challenges and improve people's lives.
Did he mention any specific projects working towards that?
Not really specific projects.
Okay.
But he emphasized the need for more Muslim representation in the tech industry
Right.
and developing AI solutions that are culturally relevant and sensitive to the needs of Muslim communities.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But it can't all be positive, right? What about the downsides?
Oh, he definitely acknowledges those too.
Like what?
Job displacement, economic disruption, especially in areas where AI can automate things.
Yeah, those are legitimate concerns.
He stressed that governments need to invest in education and retraining to help people adapt.
For sure, that's critical. It's really about being proactive and recognizing that AI is a tool, and it's up to us to decide how to use it and what kind of future we want to create.
Couldn't agree more. So we've covered a lot here.
Yeah, we have.
Salman's background, Zed's crazy use of AI, and even how AI might impact the Muslim world.
It's been a lot to unpack. I'm excited to hear what Zed's got planned for the future.
Me too. And what advice Salman has for aspiring entrepreneurs.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll get into all that after a short break.
Sounds good.
We're back and ready to talk about the future of Zed.
Okay.
So they're actually planning a rebrand,
Really?
but they're keeping the name Zed.
Oh, interesting.
And there's this pretty cool story behind the name.
Okay, I'm listening.
So they wanted something catchy, short, and they landed on Zed. It just felt right.
Right.
Like it had that Gen Z video content vibe.
Yeah, I get that.
But wait for it.
Okay.
After they chose the name, one of their angel investors pointed out that Zed is actually an old Arabic word.
No way.
Yeah. And it basically means the essence of it is to grow wealth.
Whoa, that's perfect.
Right. Talk about a perfect fit.
It's like it was meant to be.
Yeah, it really does feel like destiny.
So what's going to change with this rebrand?
Well, they're shifting their focus.
How so?
So instead of just focusing on their consumer-facing app, they're going to be providing these AI-powered content solutions for businesses,
Interesting.
especially financial institutions.
Okay.
So they're taking that magic engine they built for personalization and content generation
Right.
and making it available to others.
So they're moving more into like the B2B space.
Exactly. Like becoming the AI content gurus for finance.
That's smart. They can reach a much wider audience that way.
Right. And help these institutions communicate better with their clients, simplify complex ideas, ultimately make finance more accessible.
It's like they're taking what they've learned from the consumer side and applying it to a whole new market.
And get this, they've done all of this with only around £500,000 in funding.
Seriously?
Yeah. Well, some of their competitors have raised millions.
That's wild.
So this shift also lets them operate more efficiently, more sustainably.
Yeah, that makes sense.
While still staying true to their mission.
It's really impressive what they've managed to achieve with such limited resources.
It really is.
Yeah.
Speaking of achieving big things, Salman had some great advice for aspiring entrepreneurs.
Oh, I definitely want to hear this.
He really emphasized two things. Choosing the right co-founder.
Super important.
And really committing fully to your venture. He believes actions speak louder than words. Investors respect people who are actually out there building something tangible.
Yeah, no more just talking about it.
Right. You got to actually do it.
You got to put in the work.
Exactly. And I think Salman and Rohan really embody that.
It's inspiring to see.
Their story is a testament to what's possible when you combine passion, vision, and a willingness to take risks.
And they're tackling some really complex issues.
Right. They're not just building a business. They're trying to change the way people interact with and understand finance.
And they're doing it with this unique blend of cutting-edge technology and social consciousness.
Exactly. So much more than just making money.
It'll be fascinating to see how they continue to evolve.
Okay, but let's zoom out for a second.
Okay.
What are the big takeaways here?
Yeah, what can we learn from Zeed?
Well, first, it shows the power of thinking across different disciplines.
What do you mean?
Salman's background is in machine learning, finance.
Right.
But he also had that upbringing in a community-driven environment. All of that shaped his perspective.
Yeah, it's like all those different experiences coming together to create something new.
Exactly. And second, Zed's story shows how important it is to experiment and iterate.
You don't have all the answers right away.
Nope. You got to be willing to try new things, learn from your mistakes, and adapt quickly.
Be flexible.
Yeah. And finally, Zed's journey is a reminder that technology is just a tool.
Oh, that's a good one.
AI has the potential to change so much.
Finance, work, even our relationship with faith.
But it's up to us to use it responsibly and ethically.
We have to make conscious choices.
Right. It's not about being afraid of AI.
Yeah.
It's about understanding it, engaging with it.
And using it to create a better future.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So we've explored Salman's journey, Zeed's innovative use of AI,
The challenges and opportunities of consumer social in finance.
and some pretty deep thoughts about AI's impact on the Muslim world.
It's been a really insightful conversation.
I've learned a lot.
But before we wrap up, we want to leave you with one final question to think about.
Hit me.
How do you think AI is going to impact your life in the coming years?
How will it change the way you work, manage your money, or even see the world?
It's something to really consider as we move further into this age of AI.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the ideas shaping our world.
Until then, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.